After two no trade days this week, I finally got back into the market this morning, and the NASDAQ had a fun way of saying, welcome back. I know that risk management sounds like a super boring topic, but it's probably made the biggest difference in my trading. So today I want to talk about how I've changed my approach to risk and how that one simple change has kept me from blowing up all of my progress. But first, let's check out my first trade back. All right, so I've got an A short setting up here that I'm looking to get into. I don't love how close it is to the opening range low. Maybe I could have waited, but I took the trade. It was a valid setup. So I couldn't get my stop sell in on time here. So I set a stop limit order because I didn't want to chase it. So I thought if it comes back and gets me into the trade, then fine. If not, then I'm not going to be in the trade.
And jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
All right, let's see how the NASDAQ decided to welcome me back to trading today. This was a frustrating one. I didn't watch it. I had a busy morning. My son was going back to nursery school today, which really sort of throws a wrench into things in the morning. So, on one hand, I was grateful to just be able to put the trade on early and then go and get on with things and get him ready. But I did watch the replay after, and I didn't love it. Yeah, the setup was fine. I would still take that setup again. Um, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't because it's not A plus. There were things I didn't like about it. So maybe I do need to look at getting more choosy about the setups that I do take on top of the discipline focus. Okay, so I got stopped out there. It took my stop by like 2 points or something. And this is the worst. I hate when this happens. I'm so glad I wasn't watching it because I would have been pissed. It went down and then it would have just taken my take profit and then gone back up. So, but oh well, I only lost $102. So I'll come back and trade tomorrow. It's not that big a deal. I started off in a signals group, and the idea of risk management to pretty much all of us in the group, I should say most of the people in the group were guys probably in their late teens and early 20s. So it was very high energy and really little concern for what we were risking and potentially losing. So for me, not paying attention to risk management, not caring about it was just focusing on the profits. Just how much money am I going to make today? How much money am I going to make on this trade? And completely just ignoring where stops should be and ignoring the risk. I was constantly adjusting the stops and the targets. If there was even a stop on the chart for at least the first 3 months of my trading, I didn't have a stop on. I thought, oh, I'll just manually get out if I need to. Horrible idea. And it didn't do well for me. So yeah, just constantly and moving my targets up. Like, oh, I could get 200 points on this trade. Just, craziness. Oversizing is another thing I did when I wasn't focused on risk. If I can get this prop account on one mini, well, I can get there twice as fast if I do it on two minis, or I can make back my losses if I size up. It was just an emotional roller coaster, just way too much greed, panic, and tilt. It's cost me blown accounts, wasted resets, and the emotional cost has been huge. I didn't really tie it together that it was the lack of risk management that was, causing all of my emotions in trading. If I had just sized down, I wouldn't have, felt so out of control and panicked all the time. After starting this channel and putting these videos out, it just became so obvious to me that I needed to focus on risk management and I had to change my mindset and start putting the risk first. So, the first part of that for me was to size down. I started my funded account, the 25K funded account, trading 5 micros, so $10 a point. And after I had one losing day, some of the comments were telling me to size down, and I realized they're right. So I did size down, and now I'm trading 2 micros. A huge change for me, and I would strongly recommend that you do this, is in my journal, I actually write down when I'm in a trade, when I'm gonna go into a trade, I write down the risk. So I will put risk $92. So on today's trade, I don't know what I'm gonna make on the trade. I just know what I'm risking. And I'm okay with losing $92. So I've shifted my focus away from the reward to the risk. Am I okay with losing this amount? Yes, then okay, I'm not going to become emotional. I'm much less likely to go on tilt. And like today, I had to just accept that super annoying stop out. And I could tell you in the past, I would have jumped right back in because I wouldn't have been thinking about the risk and losing more money. Obviously, today it would have worked out. I would have made the money back, but obviously, lots of times it would go the other way and it just would have been two losses instead of one. I've been doing really well with risk management lately, and these are my top tips on how you can get better with risk management as well. So, like I mentioned, the first one is to always write down the risk first, not the reward. I've come to just completely ignoring the reward and I just write in my journal the risk. And like today it was risk $92. I think it ended up being 102, whatever. So when I look at 92 and I go, okay, I'm fine with that. Leave the room and do something else. Size down before you blow the account or before the account is just like hanging on by a thread. That's a big one because in the past I wouldn't size down until like the very last minute when I had like $100 left in an account. Then I'd be like, okay, now I'll trade one micro, and it never worked out. It's just too felt like too big of a hole to dig myself out of, and resetting seemed faster and easier than trying to come back from that. Respect your stops. This was a big one for me. I started trading without any stops. Then I started using stops, but then I got in the habit of, when price would come near my stop, oh, better move it, give myself more room. Obviously, that didn't work out. Now I don't move my stops. And then the last piece for me was to not re enter out of revenge after seeing your stop being taken out. So that's another big one. And the mindset, I think that's really helping me is to think long series, 20 or more trades. For me, it's this 60-day challenge, which I don't even know what day I'm on, but it's just the challenge to keep me focused on discipline. So long term thinking. And accept that not having a risk plan means you're probably not going to have a future in trading, or your future in trading is going to be more difficult than it needs to be, and it's going to take more of an emotional toll on you than it has to. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and join me on my discipline challenge. If you think you could benefit from focusing more on risk management and your discipline, let me know in the comments and then get started on this with me. I just wanted to say on yesterday's video, that was a tough one because I was putting out how much money I've spent on prop firms. And so much of that came from tilt and emotional trading, and you feel stupid about that kind of thing. Just thanks so much for all the comments and the support. And I loved hearing from people that were like, one person was like, I spent $150,000, and I was like, oh God. And then the next sentence is like, but I've made more than that back in payouts now. And I was just like, yes, I love this. Like it's motivational for those of us who are not profitable yet, and it's just great. I loved it. Um, I got especially excited this morning when I opened the laptop. The first comment that I saw was someone being like, "Hey, I love the video, and I'm watching you all the way from Turkey." That was so exciting to me. It's just like blows my mind that there's people all around the world watching this, working on the same kind of stuff, going through the same things, and I haven't had the luxury of being able to travel anywhere outside of the country in my entire life. Like, I've traveled around Canada, and that's been great. I've met people from other countries. But yeah, it's just really exciting to sort of, I guess, like feel some kind of a connection to these other places, knowing that people over there are watching my videos. I don't know if that makes any sense. But thank you all so much. And oh, I did play the video yesterday for my husband, and because at least one commenter was worried, like, don't let him see this and it's going to cause a fight. And I just felt like I don't want to be feeling like I'm keeping secrets from him or I'm hiding this video from him. So I just played it for him when he got home from work. And he was fine with it. He just, he watched it. And there were like a few times where he just, when the numbers would come up or when I pointed out that it was actually American dollars he was looking at, he just kind of like made this like, sound a few times. So that's as angry as he got. Like he's pretty laid back. There's just like, hmm. And I was like, "Are you gonna be like upset about this tomorrow?" And he was just like, "No, like I knew that you spent money on these prop firms. I knew you had bad days. I just didn't know how bad." So that's all fine. If you haven't watched that video, it's probably on the end screen here. All right, I'll see you back tomorrow.